having a wonderful start to the new week. It's a Monday yet again. Welcome back from the weekend action of football from wherever it is that you're catching this from. It was nice. It was a wonderful weekend overall. I hope you had it well as I hope you had it good as well. I hope for those that had challenges throughout the weekend, we do pray that God makes everything paves the way for you in the start of the new week. We do pray that He smoothens the path for you. And for those that managed to score some wins, personal wins away from the world of football or from the world of sport, we do celebrate with you and say congratulations. Anyway, welcome back from all that Premier League action in the weekend. The Spanish La Liga, a lot of controversy there, as we discussed in our earlier preview. Yes, our earlier review the other day. So beautiful things that did happen in the course of the week, but welcome back from that Super Sunday in the Premier League, where Manchester United were thumped by 3 goals to 1 against Manchester City. Yes, very interesting action there. But before Manchester United and Man City came into action, Bournemouth had beaten up against Burnley by 2 goals to 0 in the earlier game of Super Sunday. Yes, Andoni Iraola's side were visitors at Turf Moor, and indeed they came out as victors thanks to goals from the likes of Anton Semenyo and who was the other? Sorry, I lose the name of the goal scorer. Yes, Justin Kluivert. Yes, it was Justin Kluivert that opened the scoring for Bournemouth. Of course, Burnley had a goal scored in that game, but it was ruled out for a foul that had been made leading in the space leading to the goal. Burnley did have some chances from the likes of Odson Odegaard, but they were unable to convert. And then the other was a brilliant save from Bournemouth goalkeeper in Neto. It was a free kick. I do not remember the taker, but he pulled off quite a magnificent save to make sure that Bournemouth stayed ahead in the game, and it finished 2-0 when Antoine Semenyo scored that last dagger in Vincent Kompany's side. And that was it from that side in the Premier League. So more misery for Burnley, and I do think as things look beyond a reasonable doubt, I think they are going to be relegated. I do not think yes, they may have the number of games or the time to redeem themselves, but I do not think they have the capabilities to redeem themselves. So I do think they and Sheffield United will be relegated. Who joins them in that relegation drop? I will wait to see, because quite a lot of teams are struggling in between there. But let's move on to that other Super Sunday clash between Manchester City and Manchester United, the Manchester Derby. Yes, very impressive game of football for those that were neutral on the day. I know most of Arsenal fans were rooting for United to perhaps surprise not just the Arsenal fans, but also surprise United fans themselves if they could get a result at the Etihad Stadium. But as the expectations were largely on my side, it was never meant to be. Yes, Manchester United had a wonderful first half by the measure of their performance, in my opinion. Despite conceding most of the possession to the visitors, it was Manchester City that drew first blood in the 8th minute when Marcus Rashford scored arguably the goal of the weekend there. Quite a stunning strike. Bruno Fernandes laying it off back to him, providing that assist, and he struck it first time, hitting the crossbar and finding its way into the net. Brilliant strike. If you haven't watched it up to this now, I do not know what kind of football you're following, because it was such a sweet goal that almost everybody, I think including even Manchester City fans, did celebrate that one down in their hearts if they are really football fans. But anyway, of course, Man City continued to dominate the first half in terms of ball possession and all that, but I did think it was Manchester United that sort of had a bit of more clear chances, in my opinion. There was another chance again for Marcus Rashford to on the break, but he didn't capitalize on that one. He headed the ball at an angle that didn't favor him into the floor, and then when it bounced, by that time Kyle Walker was well within his stride, and he managed to challenge Rashford off that one, and so they did not convert. Then the other opportunity, I think, fell to Garnacho, and he was supposed to do a layup for one of those attacking forwards for Manchester United, but that chance again, still Man City defended well. But on the other side, Manchester City also did create their own chances. They just did not convert them in the first half, including brilliant saves from Andre Onana there. He had the one-on-one with Phil Foden that he saved on the break there. United lost possession at a moment when they thought they had the better of the game, so they were pushing their numbers high up the field, and Phil Foden went into that attack, but Andre Onana pulled quite a save. Then there was another again another chance that forced Andre Onana into another save, quite brilliant in the first half. Onana was the difference for me in the first half. And then Brown Erling Haaland had an opportunity to convert from close range, but he fired that ball over the bar. You really struggle to, if you didn't watch it, it would be hard to convince somebody that that ball actually went over the bar, but it did go over the bar, because it would have been as simple as a tapping, and then it would have been 1-1 at the time. But Manchester United did go into halftime with that 1-0 lead, and we did return for the second half. My hope was that United, against odds, would have been better placed, avoiding conceding any form of goal whatsoever in the first 20 minutes of the second half, and perhaps that would have given them the chance to perhaps get a result in this particular game. Not definitely a win, but perhaps a draw. But as the game went on, it was increasingly clear that anytime Man City were going to score, and again, it was my man of the match in Phil Foden who struck to level matters for Manchester City side. Of course, coming from the right side, driving back to his left, and he curled that ball way past Andre Onana. I did think that after Lindelof was beaten, Johnny Evans and his partner in Rafael Varane sort of hesitated or delayed in terms of closing that gap, that space in front of Foden, because once he cut back to the left after fending off Lindelof, we all knew what he was destined to do, and he did just that, firing with a brilliant strike, carrying that ball to the far post and beating Andre Onana, and it was 1-1. And yet he was still the same culprit in the 80th minute, because that goal had come, I think, in the around the 58th minute for the equalizer. But in the 80th minute, he was once again on target in brilliant style to make it 2-1. And I mean, quite a season he is having, Phil Foden, and no wonder in the aftermath of the game, Pep Guardiola did heap a lot of praises on him, saying he is the player of the season so far. I mean, to be honest, very few could contest him on that. Perhaps you could slot in a few other players that have had wonderful seasons. Mo Salah is having a brilliant season at Liverpool in spite of his current injuries. Bukayo Saka is having a good season at Arsenal. So there's quite a number of players that you could slot in there, but I do certainly agree that with a tally of 11 goals and 7 assists, that's an 18-goal involvement in the Premier League so far this season, is quite remarkable for the England international. And then, I don't know what really happened to Ten Hag. Although he, in the aftermath of the game, he did seem to have his justifications, but they didn't sound very valid for me. He did make changes that I thought cost United the game furthermore. First of all, he withdrew Marcus Rashford, who was one of the better performers on the day in this Manchester United side. In spite of having United having less possession, he was a threat going forward. He withdrew him for Anthony, who was blunt, as always. I mean, how do you withdraw Rashford, who hasn't had good games in recent times, but is actually having a good game in this one, and replace him with Anthony, who just didn't perform on the day? And then the other substitution he made was when he withdrew Johnny Evans, who seemed to have had a knock in the game, for Willie Kambwala, that dark skinned defender. I mean, for me, what is new to me, but I did think it was a wise decision at the time when he made the decision. Of course, it did feel like that. Oh, this is an injury substitution, and perhaps Johnny Evans cannot carry on. But I did feel he could have pushed himself to help Manchester United get a result in this game. And then the other substitution, he withdrew Kobe Maino for Sofian Amrabat. Again, another decision that cost Manchester United the game, because it was Sofian Amrabat that squandered the ball when they were trying to build it out from the back. He lost possession, I think, to Rodri, and Rodri laid it to Braut Erling Haaland, who went on to score in the 91st minute of the game. So, and then 3-1, that was the result. But it was, yes, sorry about that internet glitch. MTN is just doing that thing. They've been our main cause of trouble during our live broadcasts here on YouTube and on Facebook, where I do quite a number of live broadcasts, especially during the night times, during the course of the week. But anyway, like I was saying, Manchester City had dominated the game through the first half and in the second half, but they were not finding the target. They were struggling to find the back of the net. At best, but then those substitutions that Erik ten Hag did make, I thought did have a negative impact on the game when you analyze things how they transpired, because Sofian Amrabat was the culprit in squandering that ball, losing possession to Rodri, who I think played in Haaland to score that third goal. And then, of course, for the first goal, they did not close down there, and then he deprived them of the little or the small threat they had going forward when they played in that long ball, when you drew Marcus Rashford for Anthony. Of course, in the manager's defense, he said that both players, first of all, that's for Rashford and Johnny Evans, in the first place, had not been fit enough to start the game in the first place. But given the kind of performances that they were putting in, the kind of shift that they were putting in, yes, I would still understand. But he should have left them on perhaps for a couple of more minutes to try and grind it out. I mean, this is a derby. You want your best players on the pitch trying to grind out that result. But anyway, that was it from the Etihad Stadium. Manchester City strengthening their grip on the second place on the Premier League table when they moved to 62 points. Now, it's their chasers in Arsenal that do play tonight on Monday football night when they travel to Bramall Lane. Yes, they do travel to Bramall Lane, where they will play Sheffield United. Now, an on-form Arsenal are moving away from home, visiting a very off-form team. Sheffield United have only one win in their last 5 games, and during those 5 games, their win only came against Luton Town at Kenilworth Road when they beat them by 3-1, Wolverhampton Wanderers, while the other loss was a 3-2 loss against Crystal Palace. So that's the kind of team Sheffield United are in recent times. Whereas in comparison, on the other side, as far as form goes, Arsenal have won all their last 5 games, including beating up against Burnley by 5-0, beating up against Newcastle by 4-1, beating up against Liverpool by 3-1. So it clearly tells you the kind of form that Arsenal find themselves in, including beating up against West Ham by 6 goals to nil. Yes, they have scored, I think, 25 goals in the last 6 games. So they've been quite a high scoring team in recent times. And as a plus, they have a lot of their star players who have returned back from injury. We do come in this game when Sheffield are bottom of the Premier League table or standings, while they face an Arsenal side that are third on the table, but are faced with the threat of losing that third position to Aston Villa, who managed to win on Saturday. Yes, Aston Villa managed to win on Saturday, I think, when they beat Luton Town by 3-2. Oli Watkins scoring the brace in that one, and Lucas Digne scoring the winner in that game. So that moved them to 55 points on the Premier League table, just 3 points behind Arsenal in third place. So that's the kind of threat that lingers behind Arsenal as they go into this game. And then, more notably, those that they're trying to chase in Liverpool and in Manchester City both won their games in the course of the weekend. Liverpool leaving it late against Nottingham Forest with a 1-0 victory thanks to Darwin Núñez strike. So Arsenal will be desperate to win this game, first of all to keep in pace with their title, with the other two title contenders, as well as creating enough space between them and a fourth placed Aston Villa side. Never mind that Tottenham also won in the weekend when they beat Crystal Palace by 3-1, keeping them fifth on the Premier League table, but with 50 points there. So that means this game is quite crucial for Mikel Arteta, who does welcome back the likes of Thomas Partey, Gabriel Jesus into his squad, the likes of Fabio Vieira back in full training. Julian Timber is absent, won't be in the matchday squad in spite of being involved in full training. The fixture does come equally a little early for the likes of Zinchenko as well as Takahiro Tomiyasu, who may not be fully fit to make it for the matchday squad. So this is the kind of Arsenal that Sheffield United will be facing off. In the previous 5 meetings between the two sides, Arsenal have won 3 of those. Sheffield United have won once and drawn the other, I think, in a 1-1 draw. That victory for Sheffield United did come back in October 2019. That's when Sheffield United at Bramall Lane beat up against Arsenal by 1-0. But as far as this season is concerned, in the first leg, Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium beat up against Sheffield United by 5-0. Eddie Nketiah scoring a hat-trick in that game, including a very brilliant strike for those that do remember that game, while Fabio Vieira also scored from the penalty spot to make it 4-0, while Takehiro Tomiyasu was the other on target for the Gunners as they hammered Sheffield United by 5-0 in the first leg. So that was the result. But Sheffield United also do come in this fixture with a couple of injuries or injury problems that will concern their manager, Chris Wilder, coming into this fixture. And it does really put them in sort of a tough spot for this one. And some of those include Cameron Archer, Max Lowy, Norrington Davis, as well as Daniel Jebson, Georgie Baldock, John Egan, and Chris Basham are some of the injured players for this Sheffield United side that will be missing tonight's fixture. Well, what do you think? What is your prediction? What do you think will be the winner or loser in this particular game? To be honest, the odds are for Sheffield United, in spite of their record against Arsenal when they have hosted them being good. I do not think that this is a fixture that comes at an opportune time for them to try and nick a result against Arsenal. But remember, Arsenal are also full of their own surprises. Sometimes they do have it as a habit to lose when it matters the most. So whether this could be one of those games, I cannot tell you for sure, but I do think that Arsenal will try and get a win in this particular game. So I do think Arsenal will win. It won't be an easy game, but I think they will find a way, especially when they are welcoming back some of their stars that have been on injury, the likes of Gabriel Jesus, who they will have to manage. And remember, they play this game in the anticipation of the Champions League return leg against FC Porto that will be just around the corner. So they will be desperate to give even some of these players that are returning from injury a couple of minutes for them to kick the ball. I think I will stay on here for quite too long, but those are my views. That's some of the news from the weekend, especially in the Premier League. That's the analysis. That is the review for the Manchester Derby. My thoughts, do share your thoughts in the comment section, and I'll see you next time. Stay blessed and have a wonderful rest of the week. Do not remember, for those that do follow me on Facebook, we do have some live sessions there as well. So keep it on the channel. Do not forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe so that we can grow. Stay blessed, and I'll see you next time. Peace.